Hello, people of the world that watch internet videos that have to do with cars. Welcome to this, my 1990 Honda CRX SI Restoration Series, which will soon be powered by none other than a SIR 2-spec B16A Honda DOHC VTEC. Where I last left off in the previous video, I was in the process of completely gutting the shell inside and out to get ready to start stripping it to bare metal. So what I'm about to do next might seem a little bit nonsensical or borderline crazy, but I think it's gonna save me time in the long run. Dangerous. In the previous video, I was in the process of completely gutting everything in and out of the shell so I can prepare it for paint. Don't worry, this is stronger than it looks. I don't know if this is gonna make any sense, but I think it will. If you've ever done this before with one person, you know the struggle I'm going through. The struggle. That's not gonna work. It's too big and cumbersome, and I won't be able to use a lift. I'm not a cowgirl, but I do like beef. Ugh. Ugh, but I suck at sports. Ugh. There you go. I'm not very good at tying knots. Oh, sweet, I got a hole down here. I don't know if this is how you do a knot that will work like I need it to. This cord's different, and I'm afraid this is not gonna be long enough. I really don't think it's gonna be long enough. Why is this thing so twisted? Twisted transistor. Do. No, you gotta be kidding me. Are you serious? It's just barely it's like a foot too short. I don't know if that's gonna be too tight. Oh, we'll go for it. We'll do some stretch. We got a basic shape. At this current point, you're probably wondering what the hell I'm doing. That would make two of us. If you're going to get a car repainted and you want a quick indicator of what your final product is going to look like, ask to take a look inside the body shop. Yeah. If it's an absolute mess with dirt and dust everywhere, chances are that's what your new paint job is gonna look like when it's done. Why did I stick that in there? Oh shit, this thing's heavy. Whoa, geez. Better safe than stupid. This is rapidly approaching the point in which it would probably be quicker to clean my mess up later. Oh, what the hell? This thing's all torn. I don't know how I'm gonna do that side. I think if I just measure it out, slide it down, should be able to just hoop it over. So if I slide that, yeah. Now, if I take this, set that up there, I think this is gonna work. I think. We'll push the car a little bit further in. The benefit of using this auto body masking plastic is the stuff acts like an absolute magnet for dust. Okay, perfect. I had considered buying one of those inflatable paint booths to do the body work in because they'd be a great option for containing the dust and keeping it out of your shop. But I elected to go the cheap method. Now the hard part, how the fuck do I do that? The power cable going to the ceiling. It's in the middle of this. When you're standing 15 feet in the air holding a razor blade on the ladder, just around. Carefully is an understatement. It is hot up here. Also, try not to drop your tape. It's a pain in the ass to climb down to get it. Well, that sucks. There goes my tape. You know those situations where you're thinking about doing a certain task and in your head you're like, man, that'll only take 30 minutes or so. And then when you go to accomplish it, you find out, oh wow, it took the entire day. In case you're wondering, all of my scissors have vanished, and these look like scissors, so you can cut tin, it can cut plastic. What we have here is a shape that resembles a tent because I'm yearning to go camping, and I deprive myself of days off, or a vacation, without cutting my fingers off. So if I did this intelligently, I should be able to interplay with the rope like a tent. That sentence made literally no sense whatsoever. I should read more books. The goal for this is not for it to be impenetrable, just less penetrable. Fuck. So close. And now that I've got my arts and crafts session out of my system, it's time to accomplish some actual work. That took an entire day to set up, but it's done. It's the following day. Special delivery just arrived, and come, I'll show you what I got going on. As you all know, my air compressor does 38 CFM at 100 PSI, which is then plumbed via a 1/2-inch air hose into this auxiliary tank, because that is a piston compressor, so that will even things out before it enters this guy, which is a refrigerated air dryer for the air compressor, which provides cool, clean, dry air for my ice blasting machine. That's why I set up Dexter's laboratory in my shop, to help keep the dust in this area contained as best as possible. It's kind of hard because it's such high volume air, it's gonna blow this sheet around, literally. And then of course, inside here is the little rice pellets of dry ice.
Burn an X in your hand.
All this wiring that looks like shit because it's all covered in dust, check this out. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. Let me roll this down so you can see. So good. That's amazing. That's gonna get rid of all the smell of old inside this car.
Did that last 21 seconds of video make you want to go watch the Mortal Kombat movie from the early 90s? You're welcome. Now you could argue I should have just used chemicals and rags to clean a lot of these surfaces, but the reason why I didn't is because of how complex the surface shapes are, and the fact that if you try to just wipe them, you end up shoving dirt into cracks and crevices, whereas using the dry ice blaster gets the stuff that's deep embedded in all those little nooks and crannies to give you a much cleaner final outcome. Now, if you see the inside of this door panel that had a bunch of clear coat overspray that wasn't properly prepped, it wasn't very well bonded to the E-coat underneath on the door, and the dry ice blaster does an amazing job at getting that to come off. The only way I would have been able to do that otherwise is by scraping it, and that would have ruined the E-coat underneath. But it's not all peaches and oatmeal flavoring when it comes to doing this. The machine that I'm using, which is not sponsored, I personally feel is overpriced for what you get out of it.
Oh, I got zapped. Holy shit, that was a good zap.
Secondly, the noise that comes out of these things, depending on what surface you're blasting, is beyond aviation maintenance levels. It's just crazy how loud this thing can get.
So the whole reason why I chose to do dry ice for this is because of the wiper cowl area, which is very hard to access, had a mouse nest in there. And I need to make sure I clean that because that's where also the HVAC air flows inside the car. And I don't want to be breathing that in. Oh, that's disgusting. I'm not even going to show you. That's so gross.
Now, I'm no Scientologist, but I think dry ice blasting essentially is cryogenically freezing the dirt that you're blasting with these little CO2 pellets. So if you're blasting mouse shit with it, you're just cryogenically freezing the turds, which should trap the smell in their icy little graves. Have you ever smelled a popsicle before? Yeah, doesn't smell like anything, does it?
Whew, that was a good shock. I stopped to take a break and let the gun kind of just defrost. The whole gun itself was froze over. It hasn't clogged yet, which is good. The inline dryer air conditioner is working phenomenal. But what's not working phenomenal is using it to clean the area by the wiper cowl. The mouse piss is so thick and so hard on there, and I can't get the gun up inside. And if I try to clean it with scrubbing and water, it's all gonna drain all over the inside of the car. So when I started cleaning the underside, I ran into the issue of there being dirt embedded into the rubber undercoating, and I didn't want to strip the original stuff off because it's largely in great condition. Oh, it's a little dusty. I purposely didn't put a cover on this because it was already dusty, but yeah, it looks pretty clean still. One of the downsides of spending nearly a third of my life working around fighter aircraft is that I have permanent hearing damage, a little bit more in one ear. Despite wearing dual hearing protection, these are my issued earmuffs from the Air Force. I think they knock it down 30 decibels or so, and then combined with the dual hearing protection of the foamies, brings it up above 30, probably like 35, 33, 35. But 130 decibels, you're still above 90. You're in the range of doing hearing damage. And I have really bad ringing in my ears today, despite wearing proper PPE. And you can't put 3 sets of earmuffs on. So my original carpet is fairly well stained up, and it's got 2 tiny holes in it from aftermarket pedal covers. But aftermarket carpets suck for these cars.
When I heard someone say that you could use dry ice blasting to clean a carpet, I just merely thought that they liked setting money on fire, because that seems like the most wasteful, expensive way to clean a carpet I'd ever heard of. But while I have the dry ice here, I might as well at least see if it's true.
I don't feel like that does shit. Just use a vacuum or a carpet cleaner.
Now, where these tools definitely do shine is on the undercarriages of cars, especially trying to get all the little textures and intricacies of rubber undercoating. Which I agree, I could see the argument of how you would think this would work on carpet, but there's just such better tools for cleaning carpet. I mean, you can't use a carpet cleaner to scrub the underside of a car. I would try. Don't tempt me.
I went for another 2 hours or so. I didn't film all of it just because you get the point already, but check this out. From the factory, Honda used 2 different types of undercoating in these cars. A soft, squishy, thick, rubberized one for sound deadening, and then a much harder, almost bed liner-like catalyzed one that you see here in the wheel wells. Now, the areas I stripped off, that had a bunch of overspray from when the car was repainted, and it was cracking and brittle. All of the pores on the factory undercoating now are clean. The dry ice got up in there and took all the dirt and gunk out of it. You can see everything is nice and clean and black, and then where I stripped the stuff that was oil soaked off, I got that E-coat that's still preserved. The areas up here around where the fuel tank lines are, look at that fresh gold zinc. It's all nice and clean. And then any loose debris has been blasted out. You can see areas under here where any failing undercoating was blasted away, and the stuff that's got a nice solid bond is still there and preserved.
When you have to travel the straight and narrow.
So next day, and before I get back to work on the next thing, the final verdict for my moronic tent idea is it's a success. I washed all 4 vehicles over there yesterday, and there was only a very fine layer of dust on it, which you could argue is just from those sitting uncovered for the past 2 months. So it worked. It kept the shop clean. All this goes terribly slow. My scripts. Still stinks in here, still. Crazy. Sure, I could skip all this stuff and just start sanding the car, but no. I want this to be perfect.
I've said it once and I'll say it 1,000 times. Always clean before you start work. And that goes for restorations too.
This part's gonna be very difficult to mask off. Oh God, it stinks up in there. You peel, you. All right, that's sealed off. So I sealed off the bottom vent that goes to the HVAC from the wiper cowl. That way no water and mouse shit can ingress into the cabin. One last hole right over here. It's smaller and it reeks just as bad. When you put the climate control into outside air, that's where it comes from, right under the dash by the windshield. And unfortunately, that's how mice get inside the car and poop all over the place. The amount of half-assery that is inside this door from a body shop, and now I have to fix it. That's why you don't half-ass things when you do it, because you just create a problem for someone in the future to fix. Take this down.
If you've been watching this channel for several years now, you probably noticed my methodology of restoring vehicles is that I only remove or replace things that are completely worn out and not savable. That goes with materials and surfaces as well. I like to try to retain as much of the original vehicle as possible.
There. I should get the rest of the dust and shit off that was on there.
Some people like to take that concept to a more extreme level, which is known as patina, and you see more in the hot rod community. I like to do a 90 percentile rule, whereas as long as it looks like it's just barely worn, I'll leave it.
I don't think this comes out very easy. Oh, so that just pops out like that? Okay, that's not bad. I wonder how these bushings are. Yeah, maybe I don't have to disconnect it. That would be nice. Oh, this stinks. There we go. Now I can get in there and scrub.
If you're watching this and you know that you have pack rats or mice around where you live, I hope you take this as a warning, just how much damage they can do to your car.
This brush is gonna get set on fire after I'm done with it. I feel like I'm making a mouse shit milkshake right now. Oh, there's turds on it.
And this is going to be the same on most vehicles. You'll have to pull the entire dash, all the HVAC vents, and the wiper cowl to get all the mouse poop out.
Did I get it all? Well, I got most of it. Hell yeah, I got most of it.
And finally, after multiple days of work, various cleaning chemicals and methods, I can say it's fully decontaminated.
I'm gonna go ahead and call that done. I do not smell. I would say mission success. That wiper cowl is super clean. You can see up here in the top where it was the worst, that's just bare, clean, painted metal now. This stuff right here, I cannot get more of if it breaks. Got it out.
So what do? Drop it on the ground.
There we go. So that whole strip has these little impregnated rubber wiper seals on either side that are all brittle and falling apart that somehow I gotta get new ones of, which don't exist. I'm just gonna leave that because I don't want to break the window. Now you can see how the back glass is held in. It's just butyl on the underside, so should be able to get a glass repair shop to pull this, hopefully without breaking it. Oh, that looks terrible. Dude, that is super thick. What the hell? Am I gonna be able to save this hatch? This is gonna need some serious body work. Look how thick that is. I think there's supposed to be a natural curve here and they just blobbed on body filler and flat blocked it. I thought that was corrosion, but I believe that's actually red oxide primer that's on there. It's just very brown looking now. Pretty sure this comes off. Ow, it was my head. What a weird nut. You know, unintentionally, if someone's ever gonna restore one of these cars, there'll be video footage of literally everything because of this. There goes that flashlight. There we go. There. Oh my God, there's so much spider webs. Well, that was full of mouse poop too. Next step, paint and body work, and that's a whole process right there. So that's a good stopping point. And if you guys want to go above and beyond to help make videos like this possible, as you'll notice, that is my logo, not my tit, but my logo. And that is on a hoodie because it's winter weather soon. I have a brand new design also that I didn't even show you in this video. And the only way you're gonna know what it is, you're gonna have to check it out on my website, or don't. It's completely optional. You can just say, I don't want your crap. I just want to watch your videos, and I hope you burn your mouth on a Hot Pocket. And I'm okay with that. That's your prerogative. I don't even know what prerogative means. I'm going to shut up now. I'll see you soon with another video. Bye.